President Bola Tinubu has signed an agreement with Qatar, the Emir of Qatar, to improve cooperation in 7 sectors of the economy. The sectors include education, enterprise development, investment promotion, youth empowerment, mining, tourism, and sports. And during this conversation he said that something has really gone viral in the last 24 hours. While speaking to the Qatar Emir, the Emirates, he was saying that do not offer a bribe to any of our people. And if it is requested or taken from you, report to us. You will have access to me. He said this to the Nigeria-Qatar Business and Investment Forum in Doha on Sunday specifically. Many Nigerians are saying that the president demarketed Nigerians with this statement, especially people within the government circle, while many are hailing him for saying we must call a spade, that the president does not want to jeopardize the much-needed FDI the country needs at this point. What are your thoughts? Do you agree or disagree with him? Specifically, ex-minister was speaking. He actually faulted the president. Let me get his name. It was the former minister of aviation, Mr. Chidoka, specifically faulted the president, said that he totally demarketed us with that statement. What are your thoughts? You can call us on 081-0764-1679, 090-241-63440. You can tweet to us at TVC Connect using the hashtag YourViewTVC, YourView on TVC, and you can also stream live with us on YouTube at TVC Entertainment. Follow our Instagram handle at the Ladies of Your View. We'd love to hear from you. All right, ladies, so the president said this, obviously. Remember the back and forth we had with FDI, trying to get investors to come to the country, people complaining of Nigeria is not a good place to invest for different reasons. And now the president went to Qatar and said, if anybody, first of all, don't offer anybody bribe. Second of all, if anybody offers you bribe, come to me because you have direct access to me. Let me know. So, some are saying he has demarketed us. Others are saying it was necessary to call a spade a spade. What are your thoughts?
I think it was demarketing, but I think he was also addressing the question. So remember when Buhari went and said Nigerian youths are lazy? You know how the reaction, of course, certain things that you see as a person, whether you're the leader of a country or just an ordinary citizen, the better when you see and observe and keep quiet. But when you state and the place where you state it, then there's an issue. So we had Nigerian youths who sits on the expressway every time, eating on cars. If you pass through really now, every single day there are gang of boys who will run to your car, pretend that your car is hitting. They will hit you. Some will say, okay, yeah, give us something. They will threaten, they will take you off your window. I've become stubborn now. I don't bother responding. But anytime I'm driving there, I expect them. They will drop from under the bridge. So if you had seen that, you can, and it's recurring. You can say Nigerian youths are lazy. But then, are the entire general population lazy? Yes, they are bribe-seeking civil servants who, whenever you go to any agency, they will tell you, they will say it nicely.
Even private companies, not just civil servants, private people.
Yes. No, private ones are even worse. They'll ask you to cut.
Yes.
Yes.
Cut, yeah.
So they cannot take it as a bribe, but you can add it for them. So pad the budget, increase the invoice, put madam's own and all of that. We had an agency where we worked and we were going to take a brief and we did not know that over 50% of the money we were being paid will have to be paid back. So people would have experienced this at one point or the other. But Mr. President must have had to answer the people he was pitching FDI to that these fears are taken care of. And so that we will hear it from him is not news. Yes, it's a bad marketing, but we will hear it.
Let me come to you, BC. What are your thoughts on this?
We have a very poor image internationally. Unfortunately, the few bad eggs amongst us has, tainted that image in such a way that for us to get out of most of the quagmire that we are in, especially internationally, we have to rebrand our image, and we're going to be intentional about that. And it will start from the president. It's not outside your home that you are chastising your children of their bad behavior. You have failed as a father if you do that. The job is to protect your children outside. And when you get home, you finish them and, sort out their flaws. That's your job. And, picking on that bribery issue is even one of the least of the issues the FDIs face when they come into Nigeria. Most of the reasons why we don't have them coming to invest is insecurity. And not an enabling environment for most of their businesses to thrive. The fact that they don't have electricity is what makes a lot of them spend so much in buying diesel, and at the end of the day, they can no longer sustain their business in Nigeria. So bribery, as far as I'm concerned, even the bribery is even what makes most of them come here, because they get away with a lot of things that we are supposed to hold them accountable to if they were not paying that bribe. What they will not get away with in their own country, they get away with it here. So it even pays them more to even accept the bribery here. So it's not the major issue that should be in the front burner when you are having conversations with the people you want to invest in Nigeria. You must, as the president of the country, portray your country as good and well. And then you go back, you can promise them that you are working on insecurity, you are working on systems. What they need is systems that we hold everybody accountable. So it's not them reporting to you directly if anybody's asking for bribe. It's for the systems to take over and promise them that systems are in place. And also make sure you put those systems in place. So it's demarketing as far as I'm concerned.
I hear you. Yeah. So I'll come to you in a second. So you've said a few things, that there are other factors, not just the issue of the bribery.
That one is
but nobody can fix anything in one fell swoop.
Yeah.
You have to take it stage by stage. So the president will tell you, we're putting policies in place to address some of these things you're saying, and working on insecurity, and we're also saying this small, tiny thing that you just meant, we are also helping you to fix it, where we're ensuring that if anybody does it, tell me, I'll fix it. Don't you think he's being blunt, sends a message to the FDIs, to these investors, that this person will sort that out? Don't you think?
How many Americans or American presidents have told us how badly behaved their people are? We travel all the time. We see them. They don't tell the international markets. They don't do that. In their own local stations, when you travel, you will hear all the issues that they have. They have panels across different stations analyzing issues the way we analyze here on a daily basis. We don't get to hear that. When you're presenting yourself, representing a country, you must put your best foot forward. You can tell them these are some of the issues that we have and we are resolving them. But to blanketly say, my people now, they can easily ask for this or report to me. You are telling them, you are further what's the word now? Admitting to them that the poor image they have about your country is actually true, but you're working on it. I don't think.
Let me come to you.
I don't think it's good.
Right. Okay, I understand the
sentiment.
Yes, the sentiment about the demarketing. So that's why for me, I was really looking through the script. I wanted to see context. And the context, and first of all, so I tried to compare with Buhari's Nigerian youths are lazy. And in my opinion, it's not the same, what the president said. So at this particular meeting, he was addressing fears that investors have working with Nigeria. So this has come up as one of their fears. There are bottlenecks that they deal with when they are doing businesses in Nigeria. Whether you paint us with red or white brush, these are the things we have dealt with when we deal with Nigeria. And then he addressed the fears. He did not come on that and say, you know what, let me just say, my people, bribery and corruption is their #1 name, but you got me. No, he was addressing a question. And so for me, it's unfair to say he was demarketing. I think he was
blunt.
Marketing. Pro-marketing. Because he said, see, this particular time, we are prepared, to take out any bottlenecks. And he says, let me read it. It says that the president assures international business community that Nigeria is ready for serious business. His administration will deal decisively with any and all entrenched interests in the country who undermine investor confidence. So it's not only about the bribery, every other thing. And, the president was he India? I can't remember, when he met with Indian industrialists and they had complained about some of the things. And he says that many of the things people have mentioned here is not peculiar to Nigeria. You are doing businesses in many other countries. These are issues that you will find. But in this particular case, it must have been brought up that bribery is some of the things that they have dealt with, and he responded to that. I think it's unfair to just remove it like that and make it seem that this our president just made it about bribery.
You know something?
Now, as Nigerians, we have all agreed that this is a problem that we face.
Yes, yes.
And it's not only with international investors, even our local investors. So the only part of this conversation for me would be, if the foreign investors can report to the president, please, the ones local, who can they report to? So that's where I would agree now with BC, where it says it has to be about systems. But I can understand the language he's using to foreign investors because he's dealing with them directly. He's the marketer that's going to meet them and say, this is how you deal with me. And I'm hopefully, when he says that at the back of it is that there are systems now that will be put in place, because I'm sure he does not expect every investor to knock on his door and do this. So I do not think he was
something
marketing.
Something happened
us.
over the weekend. Like, that fact is perfectly a good example for this conversation. So my son was throwing around a whip, and it hit one of my neighbor's sons, and it cut a really big, bad wound, like terrible.
Wow.
I came home in the evening. My husband and I came pretty late, and unfortunately they had already gone to bed. So I saw the picture, and I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. I sent a voice note to the mother immediately. And I'm so sorry about what my son did, but I'll see her in the morning. So Sunday morning, as we got up 7:30, I rushed my son. I carried my son. He hadn't brushed his teeth. Stand up, we're going to XYZ's house. We got in there. The mother and son came downstairs, and I checked it, and I was horrified.
Oh, God.
It was such a horrible wound. So I asked him what happened, because I already heard my son's version. I asked him what happened. As I was trying to speak, my son wanted to speak. I said, no, I'm not here for you. Don't say a word. I came here to ask him. He tried to explain to himself why he was still talking. My son wanted to come in. I said, no, Michael, I didn't ask you any questions. Don't say a word. I heard him. When I heard him, I apologized to him, to what he did, and I let my son apologize to him and apologize to the mother in the presence. Now, we went home. I sat down with my son and listed out all the punishments. You're ungrounded, all the stuff I told him, about 6 things. I sent that thing and I forwarded it to the mother. Here are the punishments I'm giving my son based on this. And he's going to write a letter to your son apologizing. When my husband came home, he said, Mara, that's your own part too. I have my own part. He took a belt, carried my son to the person's house, took him while they were visitors there. Everybody, his family and friends, he whooped my son in their presence, in front of Joel, in front of the little boy. I don't want to mention his name. In front of the little boy. And said, I'm beating him because what he did to you was wrong. You also, you should learn. Don't play rough. Even if you mess up, I will also beat you. In front of you, he didn't even look at his parents. I will also beat you exactly the way I'm beating my son. He whooped him in his presence. The idea is, in the presence of the way you did wrong, I am coming to you and saying, I will embarrass my son. So you understand that this thing is we're taking it seriously. So if you look at it with this situation, the president is saying, I am coming to you. This is a serious matter. I am also in the presence of my people. I am saying, if they ask for bribe, come to me.
Yes.
Which I'm saying.
And you also said, do not offer.
Don't offer. Because we will not, we
will not offer and do not accept.
If anybody demands it of you, come to me. You know, that for me is a bit, I'm on business side on this, a bit preferential to the Qataris. The Indians do business here. In fact, there are some these country people that I don't like to talk, that are popular in Amuwo, whose businesses are costing the people, not just the environment, but normal lives.
Okay.
Pollution and extreme that I cannot even stand. But when they do business here, the system allows them get away with their abuse. You know, I would like that it was a general statement like, I will not allow this happen to anyone.
I think that was done already.
But no, he was addressing the Qataris and saying, come to me, preferentially. That's why I hear it. If everybody can access the president at some point about what they have experienced with the system, then we are dealing with them one after the other. That's why I have a problem with the NLC. The NLC is preferential to issues with them alone. Whereas NLC can say, these are not working conditions for our citizens. They cannot be made to work under these conditions and compel those companies, even if they are foreign direct investment, to create better working conditions as it will be in their countries. You cannot force our citizens to be drinking water by this pollution that you have put there, or you cannot use pollutants or health hazards, chemicals, with our citizens without providing necessary amenities or creating the insurance. You know, so those kind of statements worry me. That, you know, you're one head no better past the other. You know, I don't want that kind of statement. I want a blanket statement.
Wait, what if
everyone,
he said it in India? What if he said that, but just didn't make the news like he did here? It's possible. Maybe why he had some close meetings. So we shouldn't assume.
But we know that the fears per investors are different.
The Indian outing, let me just answer, was a question on changing policies. And saying nearly every administration will come with different policy. And I say, even the American people are talking about policies change, so don't make it a Nigerian problem. But with this one, it's about bribery and corruption. Yes.
They don't...
and they address it. And your story makes the, you know, it's a good analogy, which is, me, I've put myself as the person that you should hold if something like this goes on. Now, you know, one thing with news is that we take a sentence and we make it look like he didn't say anything before and after. For what he said, it was a good outing. He marketed us well and he's put himself on the line. So if the Qataris, you know, have any problems, you know how sometimes we have problems in Nigeria, we say, it's not the presidency, it's the cabal. It's not the cabal. It's the people around the cabal. He's saying to them, there's no cabal. There's nobody else. It's me. I stand. You come straight to me. And I think that when it comes to this conversation, what do they say about giving a dog a bad name? So, you know, that's what I feel. Yeah, so that's what I feel.
I would have preferred.
I
would have preferred that, you know, in explaining how we have got it covered, how the government has got it covered in terms of eliminating bribery and corruption, that he went with data of, you know, how many people have been caught so far giving bribery and what sort of punishments they had gotten. And he puts it out there and he says, from so and so time to so and so time till I got into this place, we have been able to catch so and so people trying to take bribe from even people who have invested in the country. This is what we have done to them. We have shamed them. We have named them. We have done this. We have done that. So you have no fears. We are working on it. It will be different from saying, I know even if they come to you, come to me. It's different. So you are achieving the same thing, but your manner of approach is different. And the manner of approach that I hinged on is the labeling. Because at the end of the day, it's the labels that will fly out there to the international people. They are the ones that will pick up. Of course, we know that everything Africa, the Obodo Igbo people, do not really want it. They don't want our progress.
They want our minerals.
Yes, they want our minerals, they want our resources, they don't want our progress. So they will pick on what you have said now and keep it here, so that every other Nigerian that they see, you people have the capacity to take bribe. Meanwhile, they are the ones who looted, they have been looting, they are still looting till tomorrow. But they are not branding themselves that in any conversation at all. So come with data to show the work that you're doing.
You just told me
hold these people. Hold these people that we are working to make it easy for you to do business.
You just told me that. I'll come to you. You just told us now a few minutes ago that in certain countries or the US, there are local conversations. We don't hear about it. So they could be criticizing themselves. You don't even know.
Of course, they are.
But they don't
go to the international market to criticize themselves. They sort it in-house.
Yes.
Okay, so he...
for their branding.
You know, in response to you, that what you say you would have expected him to have carried with him, he says that Nigeria will no longer be defined by the past, but what we do now and moving forward. Do not let perceptions become a hindrance to your will to invest. We are removing obstacles today, and we're going to continue to remove obstacles. We have done so much within 9 months, and I am assuring you it is free entry and free exit. Your funds will flow smoothly into and out of our country. Bring your investment. So he answered that.
No, he did not answer the question.
Let me finish. So he may not be able to go with the data that you're speaking of, because whether we all like it or not, we don't have that data. We don't have he cannot use that as a marketing, whatever, right? No. I know where I'm going. He cannot use that. It's not a powerful marketing, whatever, to go with now. How we have run business in the past administration. He cannot use that. He can use what he's done in the 9 months that he's been as president. And in this time, investigations are going on, whatever. When finally, if another situation comes up and he's able to bring it, then he can say, these are the people we've investigated, these are the people that we have locked up. But right now, he's saying, so far, this is what we have done in 9 months, and I can assure you. So if it was a committee of corruption sitting and, you know, I don't even expect him to carry our whole whatever corruption portfolio to sit down to do marketing for investment. It's none of your business, but I can assure you that so far this is what we can do.
Let me take this call from Oluwaseun.
This is what we have done.
Good morning, Oluwaseun. Are you there?
Yeah, good morning.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, ladies.
Morning.
Wonderful conversation. I respect all the submission, but I will go with Miriam. Miriam, thank you very much. You know, you actually pulled that out of context. Yeah, I will say this. It is, you see, what he has done is right. If in the place of business, investors want to know how truthful you are. You know, this has happened before. Richard Bradshaw of the Virgin Atlantic, you know, we used to have, you know, Virgin Nigeria. Let us go and read about him, what he said, why he pulled out of Nigeria. You see, these investors, they know our system. They know all of these things. And they want to see how truthful we are. And if it's coming from the presidency, that, guys, don't worry, we're going to take all these bottlenecks, all these concerns, we're going to remove them. Now, if anyone comes to you as claim, if anyone comes to you for bribery and all that, report such incident to me, to the presidency. It's not that, okay, all the investors will now go to the president directly. You know, it's to the presidency, and they will take action on that. He has not been truthful. You don't want to see how truthful you are, and that is it. You know, we ourselves, even Nigerians, go to X space. I will demarcate Nigeria. I will tell all of these guys that, you see, it's also difficult to do business in Nigeria. Yeah. So they know all of these things. Yeah. And then BC, that your America has a system. America already has a system. Let us go back to those things that they didn't have that system. You know. All
right, thank you very much. Which is what BC is saying, that we must build systems to help us check these things. Let me come to you, Nima.
So, two fears I have. As someone who voted and campaigned for the president, you know I have a lot of respect for him. But if it is not right to me, it is not. I don't think that, you know, that preferential reassurance was necessary. What would have been nice is that we had a system, as BC said, and we were able to show 2-3 major examples of prosecution happening right now. The Qataris don't need you to tell them. They need to see it.
Yeah, action.
You know? So we need to, if it is a fear any country has, the system must be put in place to ensure that they know that it will be taken care of. Imagine you trying, after you have brought in billions, to access the president. Yes, the president might say you have direct access to me, but we know how these things work.
Exactly.
So I don't want to be crossing the chief of staff, the clinic of staff, the vice. I don't want to meet all those people that know somebody to be able to get that justice. Yeah. That's one on one side. Then number two, when we tell investors, I had this problem under the last administration, when we tell investors we're taking care of obstacles and impediments, we're also telling them that, you know, sometimes, the way I see it, the standards will be dropped. I personally do not like that when it comes to anything that will involve mining, taking from the ground, that will remove standards, obstacles. Yes, let's deal with criminality. The criminal side is there. But the standards must be that you will mine until this place and the environment will be better off for it. Yeah. And the people will be better off for it. True. The people will not be... I don't want to wake up and Nigeria is a Congo. And we're talking about mining here. You know, we need to be able to tell them this and this and this are our standards. I want to be able to go to Saudi where they drill oil every day and it's still paradise.
Okay, let me take this call. I've been holding for a minute. Good morning.
I want you to talk to Niger Delta.
I'll do from Auchi, I believe. Thanks for calling. Daudi, go ahead. You're live.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I said I really love the way you talk on issues, your contribution, especially Miriam. Every time she talks on issues, I usually pay so much attention to her, the way she makes her point. So I think the truth is that the world, we don't like the truth. This Qatari, they know our problem, they know our weaknesses, they know them. But we are in a world whereby we don't want the truth. We just want to dance around the issue. So I just want to greet you guys and say you are doing a very great job.
All right, thank you very much. So you see, there are different styles of leadership. So some leaders believe that, listen, I think one of the reasons why lots of people wanted, I think Peter Obi or other candidates back then, because they wanted somebody who would come into police. All those people come and arrest them. expose the saboteurs of the government, arrest them, behead them, or put them in jail, embarrass them, rubbish them. Let us see that you're working. So as a Nigerian, I'm excited that this president is not taking nonsense. He has cut down costs, he has arrested everybody. Certain examples. That's one leadership strategy. And that one say, the corrupt people are there, I can see them, but I'm going to put things in place. I'm going to start working because I need to fix it from inside out. So I'm not going to be going around arresting people, but I'm going to I'm going to start, I'm just saying there are different styles. I'm just saying, trying to see, another style could be, I am trying to work in, out, where all the foundational problems, we are putting policy in place, we are reassuring our people that yes, those things happened. So there are people, you're not arresting them yet, you're going to go, the system will check them eventually, but you are doing everything simultaneously. So there are different ways of leadership and there are different ways of executing it. Is it possible that this president is not going around with the arrest, which you're saying, let us see what you've done. Who have you arrested? Who have you put in jail? Maybe that's not his strategy. It's not as if he's still not doing the work in a different way.
Okay, so just in response, there was something BC said once where she said that you can be this and you can be that. And I think that's also what you tried to reiterate by saying we can do things simultaneously. So for me, that meeting was a meeting to have that kind of conversation, which is to give assurance that Nigeria is good. And if this is your particular fare, hold me responsible for that particular fare because I will deal with it directly. Now, that does not mean that, I asked the question the first time, what does this mean for us in the local markets at home? We're dealing with this too. A contractor goes to, he gets a contract, as Nima says, it's 100 billion or hundreds of billions, but you know that nearly 50 to 60% of it is going back to pay, everybody. We know that's our problem. We have cried about it, we are fighting it, and I just want us to hear from government. But now I don't expect to hear from government how we're going to deal with this going forward. But do I expect him to tell me that at the meeting with Qataris? I don't. That means that meeting for me, where he's going to come and talk to me about the issues of corruption within my country, is at a meeting with me. Now, this morning I took a story where Sarab had taken the president to court for a $3.4 billion alleged misappropriation. As they got to court, they found out that ICPC had already started investigating. So sometimes, I use this example to show that sometimes when we're working on one side, that does not necessarily mean that we're not working on the other side. When we're sitting at meetings with international investors, there are some conversations we may not have there. If we're to take our portfolio of corrupt officials and everything, it also shows a demarketing for me, like we're begging them. Now, lastly, when they come to invest here, or whatever it is, I expect some questions of us as well. What are the questions we're asking them? What are we insisting that they do? There was a time that a young girl in Ireland was, looked like there was some racist behavior towards her. And a few weeks later, I think a representative from Ireland had come to Nigeria. I remember saying, I hope you had this conversation with them. When we have Nigerians in Ukraine and they were trying to leave Ukraine, we do not put them in buses because they were black or because they were Nigerians. For any reason we have any business dealing to do with Ukraine, I hope are the questions we ask and insist for our own rights as well. So there are different places to have different conversations, and may God help us all, really.
Let me take this call from Omo is calling from Lekki. Thanks for calling. You're live.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Please, I just want to say this. Concerning what you're discussing this morning, if you look at it, I'm just surprised to hear that, the president is going out and asking people to come and invest in Nigeria. Because if you look at it, so many companies, all the hard work of so many past governments, companies that have been in this country for decades upon decades have left the country. Even the ones we have on ground will not be able to hold on to. So how are we going to ask others to come in newly? Please, that's just my own angle from that.
That's a different conversation. Okay, yeah.
So those companies that left are mostly West companies. But you see the Arab countries are doing well. Those countries are also having an economic crisis across their countries. In the UK, the inflation is massive. Yeah. They are complaining, things are happening. And when these companies are leaving, they've left every country that they are producing and is giving them, they cannot, break even. And it's not only Nigeria. But you see some countries who have not entered international markets, who are doing well on their own. And those are the countries the president is poaching. India, yeah. We're talking to Qatar. We're not talking to UK again.
Yeah.
It's not America, it's Qatar.
Yeah.
So this is different money, and a president should be seeking those kind of funds.
Yeah.
If one fund go, another fund come,
come.
Yes.
nothing happen.
Yeah,
So
I appreciate what the president is doing. He promised he was going to do this, and he started from the beginning, going around seeking for foreign direct investment into the country. And we're hoping that very soon we'll start reaping the benefits of all of these investments. I would just, ask that his team help us, in packaging our country properly to the world. We must pay attention to labeling. Most of we talk a lot about the Jewish nation, right? Everybody, says the Jews are very intelligent, the Jews are very rich, the Jews are very this. It was proper packaging and labeling and marketing that they did over the centuries. They were deliberate about it. Can we get to a point in the country where we begin to clean up our image? While we're doing the work on the ground, we are cleaning up outside, and at some point, everything will merge together. But we cannot keep, putting ourselves in a negative light and cleaning up and thinking that at some point it will merge. We must join the energies together. So we know the problems that we have. Yeah. We face the problems. Nobody is lying to us here that we are not that kind of people. We know, right? We are working on it. The president is working on it. We will get there. But to the outside world, can we package ourselves in such a way that our best strengths, we actually have very good strengths here, that it's what is projected to the world, so that at that point we're also cleaning up our image. Nigeria is great and we are going far, but we must be intentional, everybody, including the president.
I'll come back to you because something comes to me, but let me take Amos. Good morning, Amos. You're live. Thanks for calling.
Good morning, Sister Murayo.
Yes.
Good morning. My name is Amos. I'm calling from Michigan. I've been listening to your conversation. So I just want to respond to this that he says what the president is saying is not right. Anyway, he's just saying our own view, in my own opinion. So he's saying our own view. What is bad is giving them assurance that come and invest in Nigeria. If there's any officials that ask for bribe from you, report them to me. I just want to save everything for the investors. To save everything. By the way, she was responding. As like those people that are during the electoral campaign, those that are against Mr. President, they are talking of their own opinion. I must be sincere with you. The government is assuring the investors, and everywhere depends the market in the country. How is it the market in the country?
Thank you very much, Amos. This shows your views, so we like to express our views in different ways, and that's what makes the conversation richer. I was going to talk the issue, one second, I was going to take the issue of, do we think we need drastic measures? Because, I've always advocated on this table that we need some executive orders to behead, castrate some people, raping children. We need some drastic measures just to set things, to reset our brains in certain areas. So maybe where we are right now, we've had 16, 20 years of rot, corruption, and we're saying we need some drastic measures where I'm being blunt, I'm calling a spade a spade. This is who we are. Maybe in the next 4, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years down the line, we get to the point where the system begins to remarket itself and we begin to filter out the negatives, and then we can easily rebirth the nation to what we want it to be.
Isn't that what we're doing, except if you're asking for a different kind of government? That's what we're doing through democracy. And that is why during elections, Nigerians are constantly told how powerful our votes are, because that is how we change it. Except if you have a different form of government where Ghana did it under Rawlings, I think. Yeah. Went and he killed a lot of people, except if that's what we're asking for.
When I said drastic measures, I said that this kind of conversation, this kind of strong conversations is a drastic measure, because no country, no president, just like you said, shouldn't go out and demarket and negatively spew that. But maybe it's a drastic measure today of saying that out as it is, because that's where we are today.
We had a president who was marketing the country at some point, and he decided, because of the feedback of corruption, to create the EFCC. And so we had an AFCC Act, and they brought out that department from the police and set up a full agency. So we know that, drastic measures would be that you had a full department giving autonomous powers, a special court, and all of that to hasten the trials, to speed up things, and we'll have more prosecution numbers. And it will not be the small one like the some people criticize the NDLA as speaking small boys. We have not caught the major gang, the kingpins. And we can have more strong measures like that. We have some...
Let's say a few comments on social media, please.
Emmanuel says, beyond the demarketing, Mr. President confirmed that we lack institutions to handle graft and corruption by saying they should report such issues to him. You must understand that it's not people's personal goodwill that protects investments, but strong functional institutions. Wow. We cannot emphasize the need for strong functional institutions enough. If not for strong institutions, Trump would certainly have had his way as US president back then. It is not about strong personalities, but strong institutions.
Oh, I like that. I think that's a perfect response to you and even to BC, because it merges both of you. Saying it's one thing to tell us you can do it, but it's not about you. It's about the system and institutions you put in place. Fantastic.
Good point about the marketing. I get it. But don't these foreigners already know? I mean, before they come here, they read reports from advisory agencies and everything is laid bare. So was the president wrong to offer them a solution? To support Miriam.
Okay, let me take Tunde. Sorry, I'm busy. Nima. Tunde, thanks for calling. You're live. Sorry for keeping you.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead, please.
Auntie Nima and Edward. Please, my point is this. I don't know why people are trying to twist everything that Mr. President is saying. We are building this country for the betterment of the nation, not now. We always say that, okay, the president is sleeping when Buhari was dead the other time. But this man is saying, report this thing to me directly. What do we have a problem? Why do you have a problem about that? I don't understand. The democracy is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. What are the people doing about this thing? We need to hold our government accountable. What I expected you, the media, both the electronic and the print media, should do is lay emphasis on the point that Mr. President is saying, and ask Mr. President that you promised the foreigners. If there's no foreigner here, nobody will get job. People are graduating, no job. Let's key to what Mr. President is doing. Let's be advising him instead of criticizing or everything, every step that is being made. We talk about the governor, we talk about the local government chairman and the councillors. None of the print media or electronic media in the media houses that they emphasizing on that particular, and they are getting money. Yeah. Every part, they are getting money. They have increased their money. And no media is talking about that. And we continue suffering. People are dying. Everything is happening. And Mr. President is doing his own bit. Please, man.
You mentioned it. Thank you very much, Tunde. We mentioned it last week that some stations, that's their strategy. That's their marketing strategy. And they are making money. And it's a season, and it's okay with that. So that's, if they choose to demarket the country continuously, that's fine. Some will call it, what's the word I'm looking for? They call it journalism. They can even call it, there's another word I was looking for.
But I think people just need to understand that we will always have two sides
of every side. Simple.
Right? How you receive a message is different from how somebody else receives that message. One message can mean several different things. It doesn't mean one is wrong and the other is right. It just means that from the lens that we're seeing it, this is how it's coming across to us, and we can understand it. Now, in having a conversation, you are breaking it down. I'm listening to Miriam and I'm like, okay, I didn't even see it this way. I'm listening to Nima and I'm thinking, oh, I didn't even see it this way. They are listening to me and saying, okay, we didn't even consider this aspect. That's how that conversation should be. So it doesn't mean that one person is against the administration because the person is saying this or the other person is supporting them. We are not biased in any way. We have no card. I don't know. I'm not carrying card for any political party in any way. I'm just having a conversation as I see it.
And also, the media houses across the world, some will support, some will be against, and it's all okay. So we see how Fox News does, we see how CNN, everybody's different. So the same way, we all can't be the same.
The trend on X, we know that if you're for the country and you're not causing this place, you are in the minority. And his point is that when you now find a journalist who should have an influential position to do things, be running around the numbers on social media and, clouting and saying everything that is only acceptable there on national TV. You can't even think populist views. You can't even think. You're always playing to the Galleria every time as a journalist. Point like that. So I understand this point.
For me, one thing I love about our table is that when we come here, there will be differences. Definitely. And there's always an opportunity to learn. I never leave this place without learning something new. See, if you are on a table and everyone, just you learn nothing new
at all.
So this is and then usually every opinion that has been expressed here, there are a group of people that are standing behind it. That is how that they see it. Finally, what I love about our conversations here is that we show how we can disagree without tearing each other out.
Yeah.
And that is what we want Nigerians to do. We can be different, we can have different opinions and have civil conversations.
Yeah, so civility.
So let me take this call. Hang in there. Yemi's been holding for a minute. Good morning, Yemi. You're live.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
You see, what Bola Tinubu said in Qatar was not new.
I need volume.
What he said in Qatar was not new. In 1990, our Super Eagles became very, very strong team in Africa. This man, Ihomu, told Vesterhoff that come directly to my office and deal with me. And that was why our Super Eagle was so super. So what he was saying, the system is very, very bad. Somebody must do something. And if somebody is doing something, okay, come to me and meet me directly in case there are infractions. There will certainly be an infraction because it's like, I don't know, maybe Africa has a party problem. The way we're created. What is corruption? Every now and then we must make sure we embarrass ourselves in the Nigerian community. Why we like that at this? Must we collect money from everybody? You want to go and do ordinary burglary. You need what to do burglary for the person. You say, go to my own. I want to get a job. The person said, the job of 1.5 million naira. He said, my own is 400,000 naira, and I lost the job. The same place, the same area. Why are we like this? It's a bad syndrome for this country. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Let me take this.
Go ahead.
Sir Choku's was said, it's quite easy to have this conversation in retrospect and begin to fine-tune every part till it satisfies our appetite. But it's important we are fair and deal with the issue with context. Many things were said, and generally it was a good outing. I also think it's quite ironic we're talking about the president demarketing when the majority of what he said was assuring the investors that Nigeria is a good market with a vibrant industrious workforce and population.
It goes back to the language. So I think we all agree that the president has been the #1 marketer.
Yes.
But as your marketing can also imbibe using the right language.
He did.
So I'm just saying to look at
But you are a good deed. BC says it's not be evil spoken.
Thank you. We're looking at both sides. Could he have chosen a better word?
Yes. So let me tell you something I'm realizing.
Come to me. In some countries, you know better. When you land their countries, you don't carry kola nut to Saudi. You don't need the president to tell you whether you come to him.
Exactly. You can't even have access to call.
With cough syrup. You might just not be able to come back. It might be your final. You know, the system is so assuring.
So if he had implied it, it's like, I know things happen, but come to me. And we already get the message. But we don't just outrightly say,
maybe change the system.
Well, we learn every day. So, you asked the question before where you said, should we use very drastic measures and everything? So, personally, I'm a fire person. My star sign is fire. And I like to, take issues as they come, confront, blah, 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 blah. At the same time, I'm learning that there's also a way we can do things without scarring a lot of people and a lot of things. It's something that I am learning, right? So sometimes when I sit down and I talk about some issues, I will talk from the fire perspective. Then when the issues now happen, I'm not realizing that, could I have done it a better way? So
you're learning from me.
Get out. So this president's style, it may take us a longer time to get to where we will get to, but we may not scar ourselves so much at the end of the day. But do we have the patience to wait it out? Do we have the patience? That's what we need to ask Nigerians. Do we have the patience to wait it out? Because it will be so easy to, apprehend all the criminals and kill them and take them out, and clean up the system and do that revamp.
To see.
Can we contain it if that happens? Can we sustain it if that happens? Can we survive it if that happens from where we are today? So sometimes he's an elderly man, he sees better, so.
We have a lot of calls from Just today. What's going on? Tony, thanks for calling. You're live.
And from Miriam's place.
That's why they're all celebrating her all day. Good morning.
You are the leader of the team there. I quite appreciate you, the way you handle your family issue, especially your young boy. Who misbehaved.
Yes.
That is how we were brought up in the olden days. You understand me? Every family in olden days, they train their children in the right direction.
Yes.
In the Bible, they say, train your children the right way to go. You understand me? So cities keep on doing that. That's why we have a society number one. People said that one ruled at tender age, at 29 or so. But one was able to rule that time because every family that time trained their children. They are total discipline in every home that time.
Okay.
You understand me? Are we having that kind of discipline nowadays? No, the answer is no. We see lawlessness everywhere. It's unfortunate. So let me go to our President Tinubu's issue. That's when we have the investors to report direct to him, which is good. We have seen it in the past leaders, especially our former President Buhari, when he said that he's not aware that the IG is sent to one state to correct issues there did not go. You understand me? So this is the president now that wants to change the narrative. You understand me? He has said that anything that happens in this country he should be held responsible. So where are we going? Why are we going against what he's saying now? That is different from other leaders. So let him have that responsibility.
Right.
Any investor that is starting on any obstacle, he has given them license to report to him. Okay. You understand me? So
Thank you. We understand you. Thank you very much, Mr. Tony.
Mr. Tony from
It sounded like Yakub. I was wondering.
No.
Because of the sound in my ears, I couldn't hear half the things you were saying. But yeah, let's take a few more comments. We have to wrap up very soon. We have a few more minutes.
I wanted to answer, the caller that said we do not need, without foreign direct investment, we cannot have jobs. That's not true. That's another generalization.
Yeah.
We cannot have the richest African as a Nigerian say that we cannot invest within and grow this country. If we remove these necks that they are bottling, all this clog in the wheel that we have, people can invest here, make it easy, make it encouraging for them to keep the money within. Every Nigerian I know think it's okay to invest their money in a foreign the currency to have value.
Let them come here.
Let's make it.
So there are different ways. I agree with you.
If we take care of that.
Wait, the FDI, some have argued that it's not about only FDI. We understand that. So the FDI is good because they'll bring the money in immediately.
Yes.
Industrialization requires you to produce, develop, before you start even finding suppliers, buyers, off-takers for your products. And then so for the dollar comes. So there are different ways, but we have to do everything
but
together.
the world that we're in now, you need a lot of collaboration with other countries.
I love collaboration, but we should also make...
Comments, we have to wrap. We have just 2-3 minutes. Let me take this call. Once
from the previous...
Somebody said it's all about ease of doing business. The president knows what is going on. He has information. And that says Mr. President should be commended for being blunt. It is indicative of his seriousness to fight corruption that has become part of the DNA of Nigerians that has been inimical to national growth and development. Bribe is pervasive everywhere, including sports. Another says, I'm a natural-born marketer, but I have to admit, Mr. President is a senior marketer too. We all know marketing is simply exaggerated truth. However, one must adopt every opportunity available to make a potential buyer feel safe to buy. Yeah. So PBAT did excellently well. That's another...
Ebika says, but he said what is actually happening in the country. If people don't like him, then they should change.
Stop it.
And I agree. Mina TP says, Hush Puppy's imprisonment is more popular than what Tinubu said. Desiani's corruption is more popular than what Tinubu said. If you are looking for agents of the marketing, those are your people. And that is true, absolutely.
That is well said.
Yeah.
Someone says, Egosa or this, I say, so the Qatar people don't know how fantastically corrupt we are? He was just assuring them that he meant business.
Yeah.
This image laundering you dream of won't cut it. Okay, he mentioned other stations. I don't want that one.
Mina also says we should help ourselves as citizens. We don't need the president to market us. We should market ourselves by stopping fraud and corrupt practices as individuals.
Amen. So I agree totally with that one. Every single Nigerian should start to sit up and do things
do the right thing. I think we can end with that.
Before whoever wrote that the president demarketed that person on Twitter should also sit up. All of us, when we go out, the person seeking the bribe, the person in the ministry, civil servants, everybody, who are enjoying this largesse.
Think not what your country can do for you, but what you can do
even
for
people from abroad call me, Morel, please, I want to do something. Do you know somebody? It's always, I say, somebody, even to come to TVC. Anywhere I go, please, I like to intern and say, I say, you don't have to come to me. If you come to TVC, say you want to do this, there's a system in place. You don't need to come to me. Everybody calls me for you want to intern. People call us because they think you know somebody.
Yeah.
Ah, you know somebody that knows somebody. No, I
Because
don't.
they think it's the Nigerian
It's
way.
the Nigerian way. So we need to
It has to be a knowing of somebody way.
consciously begin to remarket Nigeria properly.
Yeah,
across
redeem
the
our
board.
image.
All right, that is all we can take on today's show. Have a fabulous day. It's International Women's Month, so we'll be doing lots of celebration of women this month. We're inviting lots of great women to come on the table with us and just have a conversation. What are we doing to include and cause inclusion amongst women? Because the theme this year is all about inclusion, and we'll see what we can do to ensure that women are better empowered. See you tomorrow. See you later, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, of course.